we done started recording, and you can tell them who we are, Bob.
Hey folks, welcome to the Tuesday evening edition of the Wild Bob and Ronnie show with our special guest star today, Mr. R.L. Henson, and he's going to be backing us up on everything we say regardless of how ridiculous it is.
We need some AC in this place. I've got some, but I ain't got it turned on.
There's a lot of good.
Wait, whoa. Here we go.
Describe
I'd say they've been hearing us a little bit and they ain't missing
I
it.
said previously I was off the microphone.
By George, it works.
Yeah.
It works,
So, you know how those remarks go when you're off the microphone?
Yeah,
I didn't mean a word I said.
wait till after the election and I'll be more flexible.
Right, there you
More
go.
like,
Yeah.
wait till after the election, we'll raise your taxes.
And I believe one of them said this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, give you a little bit of a difference I see between here and Oak Ridge and Anderson County.
They got money and we don't.
No, now wait a minute. That's not what I'm talking about. Well, they do, that's true too. But in Oak Ridge, the majority of the people there own their own home. Well, if you can own a home, they own it.
In other words, they've got a
They
deed. Let's put it
have, they
that way.
have turned down a tax increase. Here
Yeah.
in LaPolic, most people are renters.
Yep.
And they don't realize that by voting for people who will increase your taxes, it's going to cause their rent to go up.
Well, also, the people who are enjoying most of the discretionary spending, like sand on the beach and that stuff, parks and everything, most of them people don't pay taxes either.
Well, yeah.
I'm tired of keeping everybody somewhere to play. I'd rather they have somewhere to eat
Well,
or make a living.
You know, the black people are raising Cain because of disparity in wages and all this kind of stuff they keep bringing up. But Obama and the rest of the people who are for all these government programs have done nothing but put these people back on the plantation. They furnish them their housing, they furnish them their food, and they give a little money to spend on Saturday night. And that's exactly what the life of a slave was. He provided his food, provided his housing. The only difference here, he didn't got to do no work for it.
Good point. You know, whenever we talk about anytime the government puts anything on the cost, let's say just taxes, we call it taxes, or tariff, or any way that they raise it, it always works itself back down to the consumer. I don't care what it is, if the government puts it on there, it ends up with the consumer paying for it. I don't care if it's sales tax, payroll tax, anything that you want to tax, the consumer is the one that ends up paying it because it's in that final price and you don't see it. This was one of the things of the fire tax shows that about 22% of everything that we think what we're supposed to earn, the government's already getting it in hidden taxes that we do not see.
Right.
And this, do you know the minimum wage has come up for discussion untold times? And I think, well, if we go back further, we're going to say communism and socialism is where we're headed to, and I think the minimum wage is what I consider to be socialism. If a person, let's go back, and it ain't been that many years ago, when I was a kid mowing yards, there was nothing they ever said about minimum wage. They said, if you'll mow this yard for 50 cents or $1, you know, that's it. And you do it, and that was it. There was nothing said about how long it takes you, or if I need it, well, anyhow, go ahead.
Let me tell you, this here minimum wage thing is a way to stifle competition. it's supported by established businesses that are already paying more than minimum wage because they realize they can't get the kind of help they need for minimum wage, so they're already paying more. So they want to raise the minimum wage to hurt their competition, and they encourage that. Same thing you had with these light bulbs. We had we had 25-cent 100-watt bulbs outlawed. 25 cents, you could buy 4 for $1. We'd been building them so long, they just turn them out, and I don't know how you'd build one for that and make any profit, but they did. And the light bulb people couldn't make no money, no real money. It's like selling a box of matches. Used to be sell a penny box of matches. How many matches do you have to sell even if you're doubling your money to have enough to eat lunch, you know? Well, same thing with that. Now they have got around the regulations, and they've got these here rough duty bulbs, you know. You can buy 100-watt bulbs. They cost you about $3 instead of a quarter. And that was pushed by the people who, GE and them kind of people that wanted to make some money off light bulbs. And you got the same thing going in minimum wage. You have got government in cahoots with all these here people that's wanting a leg up against competition. You can't get out here. You cannot start a taxi service. You can't do a reference. You can't haul somebody. They've done outlawed that. And the idiots go along with this. The people go along with zoning and building codes and everything to protect them, and they ain't got enough sense to know that the only thing they've done is raise the cost of living for themselves and everybody else.
Cost of living, and also they have taken personal freedoms away from them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I talked to a lady the other night that's trying to expand their building up here in the local city, and the way these people are being treated is not right. I always believe that if we're going to call this a free country, we should have some freedoms. And if I want to go out here and build something that wouldn't, well, let me put it this way. If I build it and it falls down and I paid for it, it's nobody's business, as long as it don't affect someone else.
My understanding is that the source of this problem might have to do with the senior citizens home up there. So their excuse for not letting the guy build on these buildings is because it's going to be flooded in the future. The fact that the senior citizens' place is at a lower level than the lot that they're wanting to build on don't seem to occur to anybody.
The flooding thing is I don't know how you'd call it.
A 500-year flood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing, if you and me want to build something, we've got to get within, 30 feet each way before we can erect a building, 30 feet from property lines. Is that what it is? I
believe it is. I know it's 10 foot in the city. It may be more than that.
Is it 10? I think you can use within 10 foot, but I'm understanding that you can't build within 30 foot. But even if it's 10 foot, I'd like for you to go up there and tell me how the Triangle Lube manages to get a building inside 10 feet within the property lines and still have a building, unless maybe it has something to do with connections.
What we call variances.
Yeah, variances. Variances.
You're a variance, whatever the rule is.
Yeah, as long as you know the right people are connected right, yes. You can build any damn thing you want to.
Well, I agree.
You take one of the most glaring examples of the government doing something to our guaranteed freedom comes under the Tennessee gun ordinances. Now, the Constitution says we have the right to bear arms. Period. Tennessee makes you ask permission plus pay for that permission.
Right.
To carry a gun where they want you to carry it.
Don't you use your microphone? I don't know what you're saying.
Somebody hear what I'm saying.
He may think he's
flip it on your shirt or something.
Yeah, I just got away to say what all I'm getting away with by not going to this microphone.
Well, that might be, but you can come in if you ain't going to contribute.
He might think he's at the county commission meeting.
Yeah, Mr. Mumbles.
Yeah.
But now you take, there's a big uproar here about open carry. Did you know there's only 7 states in the Union that do not permit open carry.
I read an article in the paper about that. I didn't research it, but undoubtedly whoever put the article in there, and I believe, was it in an op-ed? I believe it was. So if that is true, but it couldn't be far off. You know what I'm saying? If we're looking at, let's say if just 40 states had it, if it was 3 of them, or 4, it's still insignificant. When this, well, we can get into all things about this carrying weapons and whatever and so forth. The open carry, I don't believe that you're going to see if we had let me put it this way. Had the bill got out of committee and it got hung up in the finance committee by the governor.
It was
the governor
purposely hung up by Bill Haslam because he did not want that to cross his desk this past year.
He did not want to have to make a decision on it.
Right.
That's why they killed it in finance committee. But with open carry, I don't think you're going to see that much. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was raised
well, let me
in
put
an
it this
open
way.
carry
You're not
state.
going to find everybody carrying a shotgun.
I was raised in an open carry state, and I don't ever remember but 2 people that I knew that really went around with one slapped on their side.
Well, let me tell you,
I lost you. Go ahead.
that Henson make $1 here.
Serious. Okay. 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 Take care of business. I'll take. Cool. Okay. Take care of business. Yeah, we'll take care of it. See, that was my niece was in an accident a few minutes ago. No broken bones or anything like that, but some sort of a what you would call soft tissue injury, whiplash, or something. I don't know what. Anyhow,
Knoxville
not
or
life-threatening.
Michigan?
Knoxville.
Okay.
Not life-threatening.
Well, let's hope everything works out okay. You know, I don't know where we was at. Do you?
Well, we was discussing the open carry thing.
Oh yeah. You know, I think right now I don't see any use in baiting people, and these guys that are taking these these what they're calling assault rifles, which are not really assault rifles, taking them into McDonald's and Starbucks and stuff like that just to promote an incident. I don't see any use in doing that. I think we ought to retain the right to do that, but there's no use in it. And what I really think is going on is the same thing that was going on at the Tea Party when them guys would show up with them rebel flags and all that racist stuff that were really working for George Soros. And I think some of these people are stirring up trouble just to discredit the other side.
I think there are a lot of traitors within the movement.
I believe that sounds like Lewinsky.
Yeah, that's right. Saul
Lewinsky.
Saul.
That's
it ain't Lewinsky.
No, it's not. It's can't remember the name. But anyhow, it has S-K-E on the end.
Alinsky.
Alinsky. Okay.
Starts with an A.
I agree with you. I believe that there's people who did that in order to make us look like idiots. That's what it is, and it's very simple to do.
I mean, you don't need a rifle in a Starbucks.
Well,
I think you ought to have the right to take one, but you don't need it.
You don't need it. That, like I say, that is a good possibility that was one of the anti-gun people.
Yes, sir.
That did that to make it look bad on.
I think I've got a strong opinion that that's what's going on.
Well, I would agree with you. The people that I know of who are licensed to carry, and if I'm not mistaken, I heard someone who was in a position that should know that we do not have, at this point in time, the way the law is written in the state of Tennessee, that you are allowed to carry openly. You don't have a concealed carry permit, you have a carry permit. The word concealed is not in the law.
We don't have a unlicensed permit to open
That's
carry in
correct.
Tennessee. They do in Kentucky.
Right, okay. That's where we're getting back closer to what the Constitution says, is to where that you do not have to buy the right.
That's correct.
If this was legit, if the state of Tennessee has the right to charge you for a permit or permission, or charge you for the privilege of carrying a weapon instead of the right, they can do the same thing with the rest of the Constitution. When we go back to the First Amendment, our right to assemble, our right to freedom of speech.
Yeah, you have to buy a license and go
now-
to church.
even
Well,
now
this is what I'm saying,
you have
if
to
it's
have
legit.
Even now, you have to have a parade permit.
Yeah.
Well, of course you do. If you have more
And-
than X many people.
And the same reason would mean you have to buy a license once every 4 years or something to go to church.
That's correct. You would. If this is,
Especially if you want to take your snake with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, there's plenty of them this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
I saw one today, saw two yesterday. Snakes are
ain't nobody gonna go hungry then, are they?
Well, what
No.
kind were they?
black snakes.
Like, that's good. They were others off.
Yeah, but I don't know where them others is at.
They do.
They may be lurking.
Yeah, we got a few. One at the house. He
Right.
kind of comes around, visits, and goes on about his business.
It's kind of like Digger Wilson lurking around down here in Sawmill Holler.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the middle of the road.
That man with 42 different flavors of propane.
Yeah, 562-5444 if you need to talk to him.
562-5444.
5444. Digger Wilson. Wilson's guy. Wilson's girl.
When you
Well, he was there working in the hot sun today when I went down by there.
he provides a very essential service to this
He
area.
certainly does.
We take it for granted, but what if you? I know what it would do to us if we couldn't get propane. We've got a machine that runs on it, and I believe with the donation that you made to us for tanks, I believe we've got about 10 tanks now. But I'd almost say it's an essential to a certain extent to operate the way we do. Anyhow, what else would y'all like to discuss? There's
Well,
plenty
I
of
don't
it
know.
out
I
there.
would like to say that in my lifetime, until recently, the most corrupt and lawless presidency was Richard Nixon. Now, I would argue that